You put on a pair of jeans at 8 in the morning and they fit perfectly, but by 4 in the afternoon, you feel uncomfortably puffy and the waistband is suddenly biting into your stomach. It's easy to look in the mirror and assume you're gaining weight right before your eyes. But the human body cannot synthesize and store 2 pounds of actual adipose tissue over the course of a single workday. If your waistline is expanding by the hour, it is biologically impossible for that to be fat. You are dealing with something else entirely. Because so many women over 40 mistake this daily fluctuation for permanent midlife fat, they try to solve the problem using the exact same rules that worked for them a decade ago. They fall back on the classic playbook: skipping breakfast, living on minimal calories during the workday, and pushing through exhausting cardio routines to try and burn it off. But a midlife body is already navigating a complex internal transition. When you pile severe calorie restriction and exhaustion on top of that, your system doesn't read it as a fat loss strategy. It reads it as an environmental threat, and it enters preservation mode. By trying to starve away the expansion, you are trading the necessary daytime fuel your body needs for a surge in cortisol. Those elevated stress signals directly impact your digestion. They slow down your gastric motility. Food sits in your gut much longer than it should, triggering massive gas production and systemic fluid retention. When you misdiagnose a stressed, bloated digestive tract as sudden weight gain, you trap yourself in a restrictive cycle that actively makes your waistline larger. To fix this, we need to identify exactly which type of midsection shift you are actually experiencing. We'll start with Profile 1, the sudden afternoon expansion. This is the classic pattern where you feel light and comfortable in the morning, but by 4 o'clock, your abdomen is painfully tight and visibly distended. The root cause here is sluggish gastric motility, trapped structural gas, or acute reactions to specific inputs. It has nothing to do with sudden fat accumulation. The worst thing you can do is hit the floor for intense abdominal crunches to try and flatten it out. That just increases intra-abdominal pressure and makes the discomfort worse. The most effective adjustment you can make is changing how you structure your meals, specifically practicing food sequencing during lunch and dinner. This graphic breaks down the ideal sequence. You want to eat your fiber-rich vegetables first, then move on to your high-quality proteins. Finally, you save your slow, complex carbohydrates for the very end of the meal. By laying down the fiber first, you create a slow-absorbing protective matrix inside your digestive tract. This slows the absorption of the carbohydrates you eat later, keeping your blood sugar stable and preventing the heavy, sluggish digestion that leads to afternoon expansion. The second part of this protocol is stepping away from your desk for a gentle 10-minute walk immediately after you finish eating. A light stroll pulls glucose out of your bloodstream to fuel your muscles, and it physically stimulates your digestive system to move trapped air through your gut. Trading 10 minutes of scrolling on the couch for a brief walk is a tiny investment. The return is a stabilized afternoon energy level and an end to trapped, painful gas. Now let's look at Profile 2, consistent, soft fullness. This pattern is different. It's a gradual change in your waistline that feels soft to the touch and stays relatively consistent from morning to night, without those sharp, hourly fluctuations. This is a true structural change, driven by the natural age-related loss of lean muscle mass. Muscle is your body's primary metabolic engine, and as it slowly declines, your daily energy requirements drop with it. Trying to reverse this with exhaustive, high-intensity cardio frequently backfires. It places massive stress on your nervous system without providing the stimulus needed to actually rebuild that lost muscle tissue. To fix this, you need to transition toward joint-friendly strength training, utilizing accessible movements like bodyweight squats and wall push-ups. When you challenge your muscles with resistance, you send a direct biological signal to your body to preserve lean tissue, which actively prevents your resting metabolic rate from declining. You pair that movement with a solid nutritional anchor, eating a 30-gram protein-heavy breakfast within 90 minutes of waking up, providing the exact building blocks that tissue needs to repair. Walking away from the psychological validation of a dripping sweat cardio session and focusing on controlled, targeted resistance work protects your joints while permanently defending your metabolism. That brings us to Profile 3, puffy, spongy fluid retention. If you are waking up feeling physically puffy everywhere, accompanied by deep morning fatigue and an inability to focus, you are looking at a different physiological loop. The root cause here is the sleep-stress loop. Fragmented, broken sleep keeps your daytime stress signals constantly elevated, which forces your body to hoard fluid as a defense mechanism. This cycle is almost always triggered by the way you unwind in the evening, often through a heavy carbohydrate meal or a late-night glass of wine. This chart maps the overnight reaction. Alcohol and late carbs cause your blood sugar to spike. Your body releases insulin to clear it out, but as you cross into midlife, that insulin response can overcorrect. A few hours into your sleep cycle, your blood sugar takes a sharp dive. Your brain registers that low blood sugar as an immediate survival threat. To prevent you from running out of energy, it releases a massive wave of cortisol and adrenaline to force your liver to dump stored glucose back into your system. Cortisol and adrenaline are your primary alert hormones. So your body temperature suddenly rises, and your eyes snap wide open in the pitch dark, leaving you in a state of high alert panic. That adrenaline-fueled wake-up leaves you with a severe physiological debt the next morning. Your system spends the rest of the day demanding quick sugar for energy and retaining heavy fluid from the prolonged stress. The fix for this requires evening discipline. You replace that late-night wine with tart cherry juice and enforce a strict boundary on your afternoon caffeine intake. The brief emotional comfort of an evening drink is a terrible trade-off when it guarantees a 3 a.m. adrenaline pulse and an entire following day of heavy, spongy fluid retention. The overarching lesson here is that you cannot starve or exhaust a midlife body into submission. If your waistline is changing size throughout the day, it is definitively a sign of digestive strain and an elevated stress rhythm. It is not a sudden accumulation of fat. It is critical to note that while these lifestyle adjustments are highly effective for natural life transitions, they are not a substitute for professional medical diagnosis. If you experience severe, non-fluctuating abdominal pain or unexplained rapid weight loss, you must bypass any lifestyle reset and consult a doctor immediately. By accurately diagnosing your specific midsection profile and aligning your daily habits with this new operating manual, you can finally stop fighting your body and reclaim your rhythm.